Everyone. Today I'll present a literary analysis of two powerful poems by Noemi Shihapnye. So let's check it out. Before we are going into the literary analysis of these two poetry, I want to introduce you to Noemi Shihapnye. She is a Palestinian American poet often writes about identity, memory, and survival. Her poems that we're gonna discuss today, like Making Face and Two Countries, offer different perspective on what it means to endure hardship. This poem use metaphor, imagery, and tone to explore survival as a human and personal journey. So the next slide is speaker and what happened to them. So the speaker in A Making Face is a woman recalling a childhood experience filled with fear. The speaker is an adult woman remembering a time as a child when she thought she was dying during a road trip. And what happened to the speaker? So she believed she was dying during a road trip in Mexico. Her mother grounds her with a statement: when you can no longer make a fist, um, in evidence is her mother rescue her by saying, when you can no longer make a fist. This teach the speaker that as long as you can clench your hand, you are alive, you're surviving. And then the adult speaker reflect on how that moment taught her about resilience. Okay, the next one is to country. The speaker is an adult reflecting on emotional loneliness. So the speaker described deep emotional isolation using skin as a symbol. And what happened to the speaker is the use of skin as the speaker suggests deep emotional and bodily memorial. Uh, the evidence is skin remembers how long the years grow when skin is not touched. This shows that her pain is not just emotional but physical in the end, she said. Um, the speaker recalls being untouched and unseen, but ultimately find gratitude. The um, evidence is even though when skin is not alone, it remembers being alone and thanks something larger. It shall grow an appreciation after hardship. So the next one is the tone and emotional twist in this poetry. For the making face, the tone starts with a fear and physical sickness. For example, palm trees swirl a seeking pattern past the glass. Initial tones like fear, confusion, and sickness, and then the emotional twist in this poetry. The emotional twist in this poetry is realization and comfort from mothers lead to calm reflection. The twist happened when the mother offered comfort with her simple but powerful wisdom. And the final tone in this poetry is nostalgic, proud, and peaceful. By the end, the speaker say, years later, I smile to think of that journey, showing a calm and proud reflection on that painful moment. So it's like in the past. And then the second one in to country, the tones begin with sadness and feeling invisible, like a sorrow, isolation, longing for connection. The emotional twist, like movement from emotional pain to healing and gratitude. For example, uh, and line, never known as a land on the map. The speaker finds hope in memory and gratitude. And the final tone is hopefully and thankful. Skin in the evidence, skin had hope heals over this scared place. The shift from sorrow to healing is the emotional twist in the poem. So the next slide is figures of speech in this poetry. Naomi Shihab used multiple literary devices to give emotional weight to her poems. So uh, it makes her poems more deep. Like there's so much depth in this poetry. So she used metaphor fish in the making fish, symbolize strength, agency, and life. And on the other hand, the skin in the two countries represent emotional sensitivity, memory, and identity. Along with a metaphor, there is a personification in this poetry. Like skin, remember, like skin uh, have a behavior as a human being. Like skin, it should not be remembered, but it says that skin remembered. So I assume this is a personification. And then the other is like skin had hope, heals over. It's also not like unusual what skin had to do. It's like a personal things to do, like a person. This brings human like a quality to body parts to deepen emotional connection. These figures of speech help convey abstract idea in tangible, relatable terms. And then the imagery in this poem or the poetry. Imagery is used to create sensory experience. As we can see in the making face, there's a line. Palm trees swirl a seeking pattern past the glass. By this line, we can see that there is a visual, emotion, and nuancy in this line. So, there is another example, like a drum in the desert, harder and harder to hear. It's use our auditory and finding life sense in this poetry. And then the other is two country. Two country. There is a line like gray tunnels of singleness. Like it's mean like a loneliness or isolation. The corridors of cinnamon and rope. This smell texture, emotional landscape, like imaginary bridge the physical and emotional experience in both this poetry. What is the main theme or the main idea for these two poetry? Making face and two countries. And a making face, it's about a physical survival and realizing the strain doesn't always look dramatic. Sometimes it's just a small fist. Making a small fist is physical survival and realization of inner strength. Meanwhile, in the two countries, it's about like surviving emotional loneliness and how memory and connection can help us heal. Emotional survival and the healing power of connection and memory. So that is a big difference between these two. Uh, Survival is both physical and emotional, rooted in reflection and personal growth. Uh, Both poems show that survival is not just about staying alive, it's about learning, reflecting, and become stronger after pain. So the next one is the correlation and differentiation in these two poetry. So the correlation between both of them is both speakers undergo moment of struggle and survive. So they are face the problem at the end. And uh, another example is the use of the body, face, and skin to symbolize deeper emotional and experience. Yeah, there uh, is part of a body that human has, like a face and a skin, like to symbolize deeper emotional experience. Then focus on memory and reflection as a tool of survival. So they both use on a memory and a reflection as a tool of survival. So there is a same correlation between these two poetry, and a differentiation in the making face present a childhood memory of fear. But in the other hand, two countries reflect adult emotional loneliness and recovery. So one is outward, like a journey, and the other is inward, identity, like searching for identity. For this presentation is making face and two countries both show how resilience comes in quiet form, whether through the lens hand of a child or the remembering skin of a lonely adult. Yeah, reveal that survival is personal, spiritual, and powerful. Her use of metaphor, imagery, and tones allow readers to reflect on their own journey of endurance. So I think that's it. The presentation of today. Thank you for watching.